Guys, welcome to Shambhala Gardens. Let me just fix my camera a little bit there. It is July 8th, 2018, so I guess a July update for y'all for my garden. So, quick backstory. Last year I wanted to do the market garden thing, and everything went well in the spring, and then the weather turned pretty bad in the summertime and destroyed everything, and it was pretty demoralizing, and I wanted to give up. You know, when you're an entrepreneur, especially when you're starting out, you go through these peaks and valleys where one day you're like, yeah, I'm gonna make this happen, let's do this, and then the very next morning you wake up and for no reason at all you think you suck, everything sucks, and this is never gonna work. So you go up and down. So especially after last summer, I went down pretty hard until winter came around and the farmers market people came to me and said, we need you. And people started messaging me and said, you're going to have vegetables this year. And so I said, all right, let's do it. And I hadn't really prepared for that, but I did the best I could with what I had. So I'm still trying to keep that aspect afloat while maintaining the rest of the garden and getting ready for the fall. So as you can probably see, much of my garden is covered in either tarps or cover crops. Got some purple hull peas here, buckwheat. Quick update on cover crops. Buckwheat is phenomenal as a compost and fodder crop. It doesn't fix nitrogen, so it's no good for that, and also it doesn't grow densely enough really to blot out the weeds. It's very stalky. Lots of sunlight still hits the ground, so I'm still having to pull the weeds out of there underneath there. So I really like it, but it's not my favorite. As opposed to this purple hull pea here. You might have watched some of my videos on cover crops before, and I mentioned that the weeds were still growing down there, but they were kind of stunted. No more. If you look underneath there, the soil is completely barren except for the purple hull pea. They have completely blotted and smothered it out. So just a wonderful, beautiful cover crop. It's fixing nitrogen in the soil, butt ton of biomass, and there's no weeds. So I'm going to leave this here as long as I can, and in a few weeks I'll cut it down and start planting some fall crops in there. But it's just a great cover crop. Can't recommend it highly enough. Something like a cowpea might be similar, but locally around here people grow purple hull peas to eat, so I had access to that without having to order it online. So this is my zucchini bed, my last zucchini bed. I just harvested a zucchini for the first time in about 2 months today. There's not a whole lot else going on in there, but I'm hoping maybe it'll return. I've been doing a lot of restructuring with these old raised beds. This is going to be strawberries next spring. Same with this bed here. I do have some green beans growing over here. They're not doing too hot, but there are some green beans growing in, so maybe in a week when the farmer's market comes I'll be able to sell a few pounds, who knows. Most of the rest of the garden is cover cropped and tarped. Over here, I don't know if you can see, I have some pineapple guava growing. I'm really excited about that. It's going to perennial fruit. Does well down here. Unlike a lot of perennials, usually it's too hot or too cold for them to flourish. And here I have a row of moringa trees. Moringa has a lot of excellent uses. Its seeds can purify water. But I mostly use these leaves, which are a kind of a superfood or super high and lots of beneficial nutrients. I've been feeding these to my rabbits because these leaves are a little small and they're kind of a pain in the butt to pick and eat yourself. I do sometimes, but it really takes a lot of work to harvest these for yourself. So I just pick the branches off and feed them to my rabbits, and they love it. And I know it's doing really well in terms of nurturing them. This is a perennial flower plant bed. I'm not really sure what is what in here because it was a seed packet and I kind of just scattered the seeds around. I know this right here is hibiscus because I transplanted that. More hibiscus here, sunflowers. There's some comfrey struggling to grow in here somewhere, which is weird because comfrey usually doesn't struggle to grow. So the basic story of the garden right now is that I have gained the upper hand on the chamber bitterweed, which may not seem like a big deal to a lot of you because it doesn't grow in northern climates. But it got out of control last year, and it was very daunting, and it took a lot of work. And it's the kind of weed that can just make things impossible if you just, if you think you're just going to plant stuff in the ground and ignore the weed or hand weed it. Last year I was spending entire days weeding beds of it and only getting 2 or 3 beds done at a time, and I have 30 beds in here, so you can imagine how much work that is. So having these cover crops, having these tarps, mulching a lot of the pathways with grass clippings has all but eliminated the problem completely. I walk around every day for 5 or 10 minutes just picking random spots of it here and there, but I don't ever run into a patch of it that just completely demoralizes me like it usually does. It's just like, oh my god, how am I going to get this under control? It's not like that anymore. It'll be like that again next year, and I'll have to do the same. I'll have to mulch, I'll have to cover crop, I'll have to tarp. I also intend on employing some landscaping fabric, especially for the tomatoes and peppers next year, or any other crop that is, too large to plant intensively enough to blot out the weeds, things like that. So I'll be using that next year as well. So that's what's going on in my garden. I hope you're having a great summer. If you like this video, click like and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.